Christians have got to be the most uneducated group of religious believers that I've ever encountered. So I got a video that's been going viral, and I've seen a handful of comments, right, that keeps reoccurring, talking about this symbol being a satanic symbol, this symbol being the Star of Remphan, which just proves Christians have no idea what they're doing outside of reading memes online. What we have is the Zondervan Bible Dictionary. And what you're going to find, right, is that the star of what you're calling Remphan, right?
Okay, so you see the name Remphan right there, right? It says a pagan deity worshipped by the Israelites. Okay, first thing is it's a pagan deity. So I'm just going to leave that alone right there. Natalie already won. Y'all have a good day. Thanks for watching BrotherAbnertv.
Is actually by definition Saturn. Now, Saturn is a deity, you understand, representing a planet. Saturn looks like a man. And these are several different depictions of what Saturn actually looks like. Centuries before the state of Israel put it on their flag, because this symbol has always belonged to the nation of Israel. You can't find any archaeology anywhere in the world that will link this symbol to Remphan or Moloch.
That's enough of this dummy. You pretty much get what he's saying. He's trying to tell you that something is not pagan when scripture says that it is.
Of Capernaum, you know what we should find? This symbol. And if we can't find it, you're a liar or you're ignorant. Maybe you're uneducated. Maybe you don't actually study. Maybe you get on the internet and you just read memes. But you see me, I read biblical dictionaries. Is the shield of David, David's insignia, his name, because Christ sits on the throne of his father David. Motherfucker!
Did he just say David is the father of the Messiah? See, this is why you don't listen to these dumbass Hebrew Israelites, man. These are the woke gatekeepers of Israel today.
Linking Saturn and this symbol? Because if so, we should be able to find it in the temple. We should be able to find it in the Pantheon. You should be able to find me the runes of Saturn's temple. Oh, you can't? You're a liar. And maybe you're uneducated. Maybe you should go do some more homework before you open up your mouth to speak so authoritatively.
That right there is a major fail. Major fail.
Shalom and most high blessed family. Oh my goodness. What a clip. I mean, come on now. He says you cannot find this symbol anywhere. He says that this symbol is linked back to Capernaum. So what is he talking about? Let's talk about the Star of David, or the so-called Shield of David, or is it the Star of Remphan? I like to call them the warlocks of One West. Was there really a Star of David? You know, it was written in Proverbs 11:2. It says, when pride comes, then comes disgrace, but with humility comes wisdom. In 2 Kings 23, it says, moreover, the workers with familiar spirits and the wizards and the images and the idols and all of the abominations that were spied in the land of Judah and in Jerusalem did Josiah put away, that he might perform the words of the law which were written in the book that Hilkiah the priest found in the house of the Lord. So they said that the workers of familiar spirits and the wizards had images. And I know for a fact that those images were these images that we see today. History repeats itself. Utilizing the One West doctrine, this should cut the whole Star of David nonsense, because there is absolutely no mention of the Star of David, a Shield of David, or a Magen of David in the Bible. However, there is a mention of a star Moloch. You know, I just love how these campers make concessions when it comes to things they want to be true. So today we will be looking into the Star of David and utilizing the logic of Coctezah and the teachings of One West. And I will be answering the question these campers purposely leave on the floor. What does the planet Saturn have to do with the six-pointed star? Who are these gods? Where did these gods come from? And what is the Star of Moloch, Ribfan, and Kayun? All right, so let's get started. So let's review Coctezah's sources. First thing he wanted to bring up was the synagogue of Capernaum. And he is correct. This synagogue actually does have the so-called Star of David, or the Shield of David. However, he's leaving out a very important part. And I don't know if he's purposefully doing that, or if, is it ignorance or is it evil? I don't know which one it is yet. I want you guys to tell me.
My question is this. Somebody, anybody, please, if you can, find in the scriptures where the Ancient of Days or the Messiah told anyone to build a synagogue. We have strict rules on how we have things built. The temples, all those things had strict things that they had to be done. They were giving instructions. Where are the instructions in scripture to build a synagogue? I mean, if it was something of the Most High, surely the Messiah wouldn't have said it's the synagogue of Satan. Two times.
You research Capernaum, the synagogue, it has a two-layered history. It's a first century one, the one that they said Christ, the one that Christ preached at. And then there is one that was built directly on top of it, which is the 4th or 5th century, the white limestone synagogue we see today. So they took the synagogue that Christ preached on, which was the 1st century one, and they took it and they built something directly on top of it. Now, a lot of you out there will say, well, what they did was they remodeled it. No, they tell you exactly what they did. They say the Capernaum synagogue has a two-layered history. A first century basalt synagogue where Jesus taught directly underneath the ruins, and a grander 4th, 5th century white limestone synagogue built over it. So they pretty much hid it. If anybody really cared about the synagogue, they would remodel it. They don't just completely just, tear down and then build over it. They would remodel it. So what they did was they remodeled it and they put their emblems all over it. And instead of sharing that with us, Coctezah completely left that out. So of course we will see the Star of so-called David, because these people came in and they put in what they felt was appropriate. But what we know of as the 1st century synagogue, it has been built over, and they put this on top of it. Just like they wiped out our history and put their history on top of our history, they wiped out this true synagogue and they put their history on top, their synagogue on top of that synagogue, if that makes sense. But let's just keep going. All right, so let's also review this. I get a lot of people when they come to me, we have these debates or these so-called discussions or arguments, and they talk to me about the Star of David. So here's another point that they make. Coctezah didn't make this point, but I get a lot of other people. They say, well, the Star of David came from the name of David. And they said the linkage of the hexagram to David appears to be by tradition only. There is no definitive proof that David was ever associated with the symbol. Some have speculated that it's two Hebrew letters, Dalits, placed together to represent David. However, there is no evidence. But we're going to take a look at that. So when you see here, they say that this means Dalit, this means Vav and Dalit. However, the issue that I have is that they have to actually invert the triangle. Why do you have to invert the triangle to get the image, to get the quote unquote Star of David if you're using his name? Wouldn't that completely change his name? Wouldn't that no longer be Dalit? You know, and you know how we feel about inverting crosses or inverting things.
That's like, my name is Michael, but if you take it apart, it means 3 Ks. That's if you break my name down. You know what I'm saying? It's still gonna be Michael, but it's just gonna be 3 Ks. It don't change nothing. Dumbass Hebrew Israelites.
The whole point of having to invert the triangle just completely changes the whole name. So this narrative is just false. But you know, they're trying, right? They really are trying.
And not to mention, these knuckleheads believe that David is the father of the Messiah. I'm telling you, it's brainwashing. Get out.
But did you guys know that the hexagon is a symbol of many religions? Yes, the hexagon is found in Hinduism, Buddhism, occults, Masons, and also in Judaism. So we see this symbol all around.
Now, I want y'all to notice that she said Masons as well. So keep that in mind because I'm going to bring it up later. It's relevant.
However, they want to say, well, they stole it from us. Well, we're going to look into that even further. But I thought that was pretty interesting because you know one thing that we don't see a lot of people using? The 7 candlesticks. No one seems to use that. Not even these so-called Jews. They have a 9 or 5, but they don't really truly use the 7. The star of Ninurta refers to the planet Saturn. So the star of Moloch is the planet Saturn. Okay, the star of Moloch is the planet Saturn. I'm gonna repeat that again. The star of Moloch is the planet Saturn. He says, what does a planet have to do with a star? Well, the star of Ninurta is a planet Saturn, which the ancient Mesopotamians called Kajamanu or Eudeminon sagas, and associated with the warrior god Ninurta, also linked to Mercury in some texts, representing his martial and agricultural power as a hero god of hunting, storms, healing, and he is the son of who? Enlil. So if you guys are familiar with with Enki, there's Enki and there's Enlil. So he is up there. So he is actually the son of Enlil, Ninurta, and he is seen as a mighty figure helping out humanity. Let's take a look at this image right here. This is a big deal. When you look here, this is the planet Saturn. Now, when he talked about the planet Saturn, Kaktazah, he said, this is about a planet. What does this have to do with a star? Well, there's actually something called the eye of Saturn, or something at the top of Saturn. Right here, if you look at the planet, it actually has this symbol, which is a hexagon on top of it. Here's another image of it zoomed up. Again, we have the star of Saturn, which it is. And then we have the image of Saturn right there. This is another image, the so-called Star of David. And as you see inside. Now, I promise you guys, I didn't make this image. I promise you. I'm just as astonished as you guys are too. These are some Hebrew Israelites. And if you look at the top of their heads, they actually have the so-called Star of David. Now, what I found that was more disturbing to me was the fact that they actually had it sealed in, just like how the planet Saturn is. Why would they seal that in? What instructions who told them to do that? What does this have to do with David? This is not found anywhere in the Bible. However, it is found with the Sumerians. It is found with the Babylonians. these directions and these instructions are found with them to worship this God. And I pray that they don't know, but I feel as though that they do know what they're doing. And that's why I call them the warlocks, because the thing is, wizards are the ones that had these images and are consulting with familiar.
Yeah, I gotta agree with her. They know exactly what they're doing. All that has to do with the fringes that you wear, the type of garments that Israel United in Cash wears. All that plays a role in what's going on with all of these woke gatekeepers, you know, and the campers. They are brainwashed.
Spirits. Now, this is a 2025 image, telescope image of the hexagon on top of Saturn. So this is an actual space image. Okay, so they said the mysterious Saturn hexagon remains a prominent atmospheric feature, but there are now new mysteries of it emerging in 2025. Rather, it's an ongoing area of scientific interest that scientists first explained in 2015 using computer models. The hexagon is a permanent six-sided jet stream at Saturn's north pole.
So that was Sister Neptali with Neptali's New School of Thought. The name of the video, Warlocks of One West. Now, hey, she gave him the business in there, even though I didn't let y'all watch the whole video. But if you do want to check out the entire video, go to Neptali's New School of Thought, check out Warlocks of One West, give you a more in-depth understanding of those are pagan deities. That thing that they say is the Star of David. Hey, it is what it is. I had to come to reality with that myself, because I did start to believe that, hey, maybe they just made the image bad for our people to make us think it was something bad, just like they did with the word Negro. But some things that I also caught in the entire video in its entirety, and I'm going to break that part down, because that's what I saw in the video. Not critiquing anything bad about what she did, but this is things that I saw in the video that I think some people overlooked. Hey, it's your favorite brother, Brother Abner, and you watching Brother Abner TV. Let's go.
Jeremiah 10:2, thus saith the Lord, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. These signs of heaven, the Little Dipper, the Big Dipper, all these different things, the Milky Way, all this stuff, the Most High said not to be dismayed at that. Don't even be worried about that. That's a heathenist thing. Where priests, astrologers observed from the sky, from the ziggurats. So why did they have these big old huge ziggurats, these big old pyramids? Why did they have those? Because they built those up there so they can be right there next to the sky, be as close as they can to the sky. People talk about the constellations, the zodiac signs. What's your zodiac sign? What are you? I'm a so-called Capricorn. All of that comes from the Babylonian.
Not to mention that's also a form of worship, or witchcraft, because you use that to make decisions on what you do sometimes, right? So that's a form of worship. Okay.
Believe it or not, you want to check your horoscope. That comes from the Babylonians. That goes far back. That doesn't start with the Greeks. It doesn't start with the Romans. That goes further back. People say, oh, you go to the Roman calendar. No, that's not the Roman calendar. That's the Babylonian calendar. The Romans just took it. They just took it on, and they just changed their name. They never changed their customs, their cultures, their ways. They just changed their names. And this is a ziggurat. So here's the Babylonian calendar. It says the year began on the spring equinox based on the 12th lunar month months a year. So the Babylonians had 12 months. Guess what? We have 12 months. Each month beginning with a new crescent moon was observed. Months consist of 29 to 30 days. To keep the year 352 days, so they have 352 days, we have 365 days. However, they added a month. But what we do is we have a leap year, or we have February with 28 days. So they kind of manipulated things a little bit. But the thing is that it's still around that 352, 365. They say months were divided into weeks.
Before she gets into the months and the weeks, right? We do have a 12-month cycle, right? But she mentioned something regarding a leap year. How do you know when we have a 13th month according to scripture? I'll give you a hint. Shift something. Let's not forget. She mentioned each month beginning with a new crescent moon was observed. I'm going to explain that more. But I'm going to say Sirach 43:8. So we could have a leap year, which is really just a 13th month. When it's regarding the 29 to 30 days, we're going to go to scripture and get a better understanding of it. You're still rounding up to 30 days, even if it's at 29. But we're going to get a better understanding of that. And let me let her continue with the rest of this.
They added a month. But what we do is we have a leap year, or we have February with 28 days. So they kind of manipulated things a little bit. But the thing is that it's still around that 352, 365. They say months were divided into weeks. We have weeks. Each week had 7 days. They had 7 days. Each day consisted of 24 hours. Each hour consisted of 60 minutes. Each minute consisted of 60 seconds. So all this stuff about them trying to tell us that they came up with all this, the Babylonians already had it.
Okay, right there. Each week has 7 days. Each day consists of 24 hours. Each hour consists of 60 minutes. Each minute consisted of 60 seconds. How did Noah know how to do that? How did Noah know how to calculate time?
We have changed the names of a few of the days, but we have maintained Sunday, Moon Day, Saturn Day. This is important because these 3 days, these 3 astral gods are the ones still being worshipped by modern mystery religions within secret societies. And there we go. But Wednesday is still a god, that's still a god. That's Odin or Woden. Odin is Wednesday. Thursday is Thor's day. Friday is Frida, or Friday, which is a goddess, which still goes back to Ishtar. We still are celebrating these same gods. Thor, which is Thor's Thursday.
This is just something I just noticed. Each week has 7 days. Did the Ancient of Days ever name his days? So how you gonna use that? Because they said it was Saturday. You think the 7th day is Saturday when you know they thought to change dates and times, but you use that still to calculate? Dumbass Hebrew Israelites.
Stop it, my nigga!
Which is Woden or Odin. So Saturday, which is Saturn's day. Sunday still is the sun's day. Moon day is Monday. It was prophesied in 2 Timothy 4:3. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears. In Psalms 10:4, it says, the wicked in his proud countenance does not seek him. God is in none of his thoughts.
Before I kick this off with more scriptures, let's get some understanding of how days are calculated according to scripture. Okay, in Daniel 7:25, it's a reference. It says a time and times and the dividing of times. Daniel 12:7, a time, times, and half times. Revelations 11:2, times, times, and a half, right? Revelations 11:3, 8,203 score days. Revelations 12:6, 1,203 score days. These are like precepts here. Revelations 12:14, a time and times and half a time. Revelations 13:5, 40 and 2 months. So what does all that mean? When it says a time, meaning one time, that means 12 months. That's 12 times 30, which equals 360 days, according to scripture. 2 times is 2 years, which is 24 months. 24 times 30, that's 720 days. A half time would be half a year, 6 months. 6 times 30, 180 days. 3.5 times equals 3.5 years. That's 42 months. 42 times 30 equals 1,260 days. Now you may say, well, what's the relevance of this? Well, I'm going to bring a scripture up in the middle of this presentation regarding the reference, and God willing, you see it. Genesis 1:14, and Elohim said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and for seasons and for days and years. They're not there to worship. They're there to calculate. That's it. You observe the days and months and times and years. That's Galatians 4:10. We just read Genesis. Once again, it shows the sun's hours, months by the moon. Years are done by the circulation of the months. That's how you know it's 12 months, or if there's a leap year or a 13th month. We talked about that. Let's go. Genesis 7:23-24, and every living substance was destroyed which was upon the face of the ground, both man and cattle and the creeping things and the fowl of the heavens, and they were destroyed from the earth, and Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark, and the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. How did Noah know that it was 150 days? Now, if we do 150 days, that'll be 30 times 5, which equals 150. So that's 5 months. How did Noah know that? And if I continue to read this, it's really going to rip you apart. We might do that one day. That's going to be a drop the bomb segment right there. We already broke this down. Go to the scriptures, read it yourself. It's going to balance out to 30 days a month, no matter how you do it. I didn't say it. The scripture said it. Let's go. Ecclesiastes 43:7. For the moon is the sign of feast, a light that decreases in her perfection. So if the light is decreasing, it's telling you a sign that there's a feast amongst us. Here's proof. Most of our feast days are during the weekdays. The Feast of Weeks is on what day? The 6th day. Offering of fruits is on what? The 16th day, 15th day, 14th day, 1st day, 10th day, 15th day. The month here, the moon decreases. It's a sign of feast days. So when you look at the moon, you can tell basically what feast is going to be in that month. Ecclesiasticus 43:8. The month is called after her name, increasing wonderfully in her changing. That means the month, we all know in Hebrew, that means moon. That means to increase. That's the crescent moon we was talking about. The month is called after her name, increasing. That's in scripture. And the proof that is the new moon, when you look up there at night, you see it. That's the second witness. But I'm going to give you a few scriptures that, some people just, out of these other scriptures, they're all related to Sirach 43. But let's go. The new moon shares the characters of its name, increasing wonderfully as it changes. In the DRA, the month is called after her name, increasing. GNT, the month is named after the moon, marvelous to watch as it grows fuller. The NABRE, the new moon, like its name, renews itself. How wondrous it is when it changes. How did Adam, how did Noah, how did Moshe, how did David know how to calculate their days, months, and years? They had to start it with the crescent moon. So scriptures tell us to observe the Sabbath. What does observe mean in the Hebrew? It's an action word, to make, to bring forth, to be busy, to have the charge of, commit. And here's the scripture. It reads, this is Exodus 31. 6 days may work be done. It doesn't say Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. But in the seventh is the Sabbath of rest, holy to the Elohim. Whosoever doth any work in the Sabbath day, he shall surely be put to death. Verse 16, wherefore the children of Israel shall keep the Sabbath, to observe the Sabbath throughout their generations for a perpetual covenant. That's why I brought up the word observe. So you have to do. Because see, we have some dumbass Hebrew Israelites out here who are starting to say you don't have to keep the Sabbath. Right here it says to observe the Sabbath throughout their generation for a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between me and the children of Israel. How long? Forever. How long? Forever. How long? Forever. For in 6 days the Elohim made heaven. 6 days he made heaven. 6 days he made heaven and earth. And on the seventh day he rested and was refreshed. Huh? Those are days. Numbered, not named.
Stop it, my nigga!
So as you can see, the gatekeepers, the warlocks, in Israel are also against you getting true understanding of what's going on in scripture. Study for yourselves. Ain't no way in hell, according to scripture, that a day starts in the damn evening. And as far as them damn fringes go, they use that to make money. Because when you buy those fringes, they don't match the material you have. Let's think about that. IUIC, I know for sure, every Saturday they have a free offering. You can give if you want to, but that's every Saturday on their Sabbath. Let's calculate how many schools they have. Let's calculate how many people going there. Let's calculate how much possible money that they're making every week, just like the churches do. All these campers are religious groups as well. They are also gatekeepers of truth. With that, it's your favorite brother, Brother Abner. And I want to thank the Ancient of Days, our King to come, Abraham, Isaac, and Israel, for everything.
Are those fringes?
Those are fringes, my friend.
So let's see what they look like. What the? You see this? You see this brown couch right here and this green couch over here? Look. We have people claiming to be Israel walking around with furniture fringes on, claiming they have them on because it's part of the Israelite culture. If you ever see these cats out here in these streets and they say that to you, tell them to go take them furniture fringes off and learn how to keep the commandments.
What are they? Are those fringes?